What's up, everyone? Happy Saturday. Welcome back to the stream. We have a guest today that I am mighty excited to bring in. You all know who it is already. Mike Kalinowski is with us, and I am super pumped to get to know him a little better than I do outside of the Schmoedown realm. So let's bring him in right now. Hey, Mike. How you doing?
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. It is it's bright and early. I always feel bad when I do this with anyone who's on the West Coast. It's always like whenever I pitch this show to someone, it has to be like, listen, I get it. It's Saturday at 9 o'clock in the morning, but like I run this shit. I can do whatever I want. But you were very consistent on keeping it at the 9:12 time.
Yeah, I that was the surprising thing because doing this, like, because we kind of talked about it and we're talking through Twitter, the messaging and I was like, oh, I didn't ask you what time it was. And then you said 9 a.m. I was like, 9 a.m. Interesting. Okay. Because everyone's like at night sometimes. Like they're always like, somewhere 10:30 at night, which is my thing. And then I felt so bad because last week I was supposed to come on last week and we were doing this, and I said, yeah, I'll do it. And then I don't think we ever officially set a time.
No.
But then I woke up Saturday at 3 p.m. and I see your messages and I'm like, whoa. Oh, this is my fault. I'm awful. This is terrible.
The conversation about last week's show happened so last minute, and we're on different coasts. So, I probably should have been planned a little further ahead of time than what I did.
Well, now that I know it's a different coast thing, like, oh, now it makes sense because it's noon for you guys. It's noon, right, over there?
Yeah, it's noon here.
Yeah, makes sense.
For the time being, I can't wait. It's like when I do come back, realistically, I'm probably going to push back the time. But while I'm out here, it feels like an appropriate thing to do it. Like, I don't know, pre-lunch, something about that.
There you go. Middle of the day.
So the reason this all came up is because, as some folks know, we played some Schmoedown.
We did,
and it was fun. Like more than anything, like it was a freaking honor to play someone who has the reputation that you have. I feel like we met through the Schmoedown, and I've watched you play for years now, but I kind of realized like I don't know much about you beyond that, and that was kind of upsetting to me. So I want to know a little bit about how you got into this industry and your love of movies. But first, when you were growing up, what did you want to be when you grew up?
An actor.
Oh, since the very beginning.
It's surprising. And then I talk to people, or I still talk about it, or people ask me about it. That's what I've always wanted to be. I'm lucky. I'm fortunate that's what I've always wanted to do, and been able to make a career out of it. So yeah, that was it. And it all it ties together all with movies when we get into that. It's all kind of cyclical, and it's been my life, I guess.
Was there one particular movie that inspired you where you saw it and you're like, I got to do that?
Yes. I guess I don't know if I'll show my age here, but it was Temple of Doom. And I remember, I grew up as a kid. I'm a Star Wars kid. I was in the age where I could Star Wars. It was weird because Star Wars ran for years in theaters. It wasn't just like 77 and then that was it. I think because I wasn't old enough to see it then, but I do remember seeing Star Wars. But I just remember liking Stormtroopers. But it was Temple of Doom was the movie because I remember my babysitter at the time wanted to take me to see Raiders, and I just remember very clearly my mom asking like, "Well, what's the violence like?" Because at the time I was really young, and she's like, "Well, there's a guy that gets cut up in a propeller," and I remember that. But I do remember seeing it. But it was Temple of Doom. I remember the mall we went to with the movie theater in it. I remember trying to take it was like a string, and I tied a rope to the end of it as my whip. Because I had to give some kind of because the rope wouldn't attach to stuff without the rock on the end. That was my whip. And I remember seeing that movie and I was like, that's what I want to do when I grow up. And my mom was like, oh, like an archaeologist? And I was like, no. I want to be like the person playing the guy. So that was it.
Were your parents kind of cool with it when it came to the point where you really actually were just it wasn't even just a childhood dream. You were really deciding to pursue that career?
No. I don't want to say that in a bad way because my parents are awesome, but they discouraged it. I was very introverted as a kid too. I was very much into my own little thing, and it wasn't until drama, I think in 7th grade, when I started taking drama that kind of gave me an outlet. And then high school, I was very introverted still, but my drama club and the drama, all that kind of opened it up. But I remember very distinctly my guidance counselor trying to talk to me out of being an actor. And I don't know if my parents had kind of put that into them. Yeah, like a guidance counselor, school guidance counselor, trying to teach me what I want to talk about what I want to do for my life.
I mean, it's like I kind of understand it just because, you know, making it in the industry is super hard. And I'm sure like your parents and your guidance counselor want to tee you up to, you know, like make a living and be able to support yourself. But at the same time, like I hold so tight to that idea of, you know, at least doing whatever you can to live your dreams. So the fact that a school guidance counselor tried to talk you out of it hurts my heart a little bit.
I know, it was awful. I remember exactly when we were sitting outside. I remember it was like in the courtyard, and I remember just feeding him a bunch of crap because I think that's what he wanted to hear. Like I was lying to him. I was like, well, yeah, I can think about being an archaeologist because that's what kind of got me inspired. And he's like, oh yeah, you know, science. And I was like, yeah, I think I could do that really well. I was just like feeding him crap. Because I think I was at that point, like in high school, like I had a bit of an ego because our drama club was like just as successful as like the football team. It was like they're neck and neck with like school, the amount of money we'd raise and stuff. So I kind of had a little ego when I shouldn't probably have had an ego at that age. So I got out of that, and then I went to college and studied theater. And then I got a business minor just to kind of appease my parents when I was there. Oh my God, that was awful. Oh my gosh. I don't know if you've studied anything other than what you wanted in life, but just to know when you're there and you're like it's going in one ear and out the other ear what he's teaching me. And I'm just like, luckily my best friend was I think he's a business major. We were roommates. So I had him there to help me, but I was just like, in my head, I'm like, I don't know. What am I doing? Why am I doing this?
Yeah. Like on the one hand, shit like that is hard. But I think one of the things that I appreciated most about college was the opportunity to like study my major, but also the encouragement to study other things. Cause I guess it's good to know about a lot of things. And I had that in one ear, out the other problem. Cause in my sophomore year of undergrad, my pursuit was getting the journalism degree, and I was very happy in that program. But sophomore year, they decided to force all journalism majors to double, and I chose Hebrew and Judaic studies because I had a 4-semester language requirement, and like I'm Jewish and grew up going to Hebrew school, but I did not know how to speak or write Hebrew anymore, so I decided to do that. So the only reason I chose it was because I was already like 4 credits in, and I'll tell you all of that information about like I hate admitting this because maybe I should know all of this, but like all the information I learned about the Dead Sea Scrolls, like I cannot tell you a single thing about it anymore.
You know, and it's so funny, like, I don't know, like, I see, you know, I had mounds of college debt that I paid off. And I mean, that was my own fault looking back on it. Cause I remember, gosh, I never forget, like, you know, I had a loan and my dad and my parents took out a loan, and that was like, we'll pay this and that's ours. And you pay your half. I was like, okay. But I remember getting like all my books and tuition and housing covered, and then you had like money left over, and I went to like the school, like this atrium area, and they had like all set with computers, and like, all right, now this is the remainder of your student loan. Where would you like it deposited? And I'd say, well, I'll put it in my bank account, and I'd go and have like $3,000 in there, you know, and as, you know, 18, 19-year-old kid, and you see $3,000, it's like, oh my God, I'm rich. I don't have to work. They're like, no, I shouldn't have taken that money. So then over 4 years, that was like, I don't know, $6,000 a year, $24,000. At the end of the year, I need like outside of my coverage of school. So I was like, what was I doing? So then that took me decades to pay off, which I finally did. But I will say this: I don't ever regret college at all. Like, I mean, that's where I met Christian Harloff, John Roca, Dan. I didn't meet Dan Rowe. We were there at opposite times. But I met all these guys at college. So
I did not realize all of you went to school together.
Oh, we're all the Florida State boys.
Holy shit.
And I wanted to, and Jen Sturger was there.
Wow.
She was after me too. But John Roca directed me in one of my first plays in college. Yeah, John Roca, a director. Can you imagine that?
Oh, I have so many questions.
Oh my gosh, yeah, we did Glenn Ross.
What was that like? I am like, what are Rocha's methods as a director?
God, it's so different than what it is back then. Like, I know Rocha is a bit of a hothead, but he was so calm, and I had such a good time. And I don't know how we met though, because we weren't friends outside of that. I don't remember taking classes with him. I think I just saw an audition notice, yeah, that was that. I'll try and find it. I have a picture of us, like a cast picture. I know I gave him a copy of. I'll have to find that and put it up on maybe like tag it in this thing.
That is the coolest thing. I don't know. I feel like that just, further speaks to the community. Like,
yeah.
Like on the one hand, you could look at the Schmoedown community and like, oh, like it's just a bunch of people who met playing movie like it's so much more than that. And the fact that you guys stuck together, I really think speaks to the strength of the relationships there.
Here's even not worse for Christian, because Christian and I were both fraternity brothers. I went down that route of fraternity. I wasn't going to. It was so funny because like I said, my best friend and I went to college together. Who's still my best friend to this day. And first semester, like, we're not joining fraternity. We're not paying for friends. That's crap. Not doing that. One semester. I was like, no, we're joining fraternity. This sucks. Can't get in parties. Can't meet people. Got to do it.
The Greek life situation in school, like I can't speak to every single school, but everyone was shocked when I did it at NYU because NYU is not really known for that. But it was the smartest thing I did because basically in a flash, I had a whole social life built into and like living in New York City as a kid when you didn't really know anyone was
crazy
hard. But literally the second I joined the sorority, everything changed. I had like built-in social events every week and it was kind of socially smooth sailing from there.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And that's where I met Christian. We were together, and it's so funny because to see what he's done and his whole network and the Schmoedown came from that, because we used to have what was called Thursday night fights, and it was boxing. And he used to be the promoter. He used to be he would build it up. He'd be the announcer. He'd have you create these great big personalities that you were. And you'd sit there and like Thursday night, they'd bring in, all the girls, and everyone would be drunk, and we'd just be beating the crap out of each other because we built a boxing ring in the middle of the house. So just knowing Christian, that's like where it all came from. It's like, so seeing where he is, 20 some odd years later, I'm like, oh, this makes perfect sense.
Really
easy.
Just because I'm curious now, who was the best fighter?
Not me. I don't box per se, and I never did, and none of us were boxers, but that is one of the toughest sports. After 30 seconds, you're exhausted.
Yeah.
Christian swears he says I left him high and dry one night because I guess I was supposed to fight my best friend, and I backed out at the last minute. And I don't ever recall that, so I felt bad, and I was like, I don't think I did that because my best friend's probably about the same size as me, but I don't know. And then he's like, I think you had date or something, and you had to back out. I was like, okay, maybe, but
you never know. I feel like those things get very quickly.
So my parents loved the fact that I went to college, and they were happy I had my business minor. And then I got out of college for about a year, moved back home, and which was the worst mistake in my life. I don't know if you ever went back home after college. Oh God, being free like that, and then
where is home for you?
At the time, it was South Florida, Fort Lauderdale. So still in the state.
Okay.
But to live back home again, because I spent about 3 weeks after I graduated out in LA. I went to LA, stayed with some fraternity brothers, and I instantly realized, I'm like, oh, I'm not ready for this. I have no credits. I have nothing. I'm not ready for this. So I made the decision to go home for it. I didn't know it was going to be a year, but I figured, okay, I'll go home. I'll save some money. I'll build my resume, and we'll try from there. And then just by chance, I found upon it was called a stunt school. It was like this stunt man up in Seattle that was for I think it was like $2,500 for 3 weeks. And they just would teach you the basics of the stunt industry. And I was like, well, I don't want to be a stuntman per se, but I love action movies, and I want to do this kind of stuff. And maybe that will help me as an actor, just kind of broaden my skills. And I went up there for 3 weeks, and I had such a wonderful time. And then at the time, they were both like, yeah, so you're in Florida. Why don't you move to Orlando and work in the theme parks? Because they've got these live stunt shows. You'll be doing things every day, the training, and it'll build a resume. And Florida's kind of a building film industry. And it's like, that's it. That's what I'll do. And as a kid, I don't know, have you ever been to MGM Studios or I guess it's Hollywood Studios now.
Yeah.
And they had the Indiana Jones show.
Yes.
And I saw that as a kid, and when it first opened in, I think it was 89, I was like, I'm going to go be Indiana Jones. So I moved to Orlando. I came home for a couple months, saved some money, moved to Orlando, and I auditioned for Disney. And now this was right after September 11th. So the parks kind of, they didn't shut down per se, but it slowed down.
Yeah.
And I moved, and I auditioned for Disney, and I got far in the audition process, and they're like, okay, thank you for your time. And I was like, that was it. I was like, what? That's it? I didn't get it. And it was kind of like heartbreaking, but at the same time, Universal hired me like right away. So I had a job, and then it took about 3 years, and I was finally hired as Indiana Jones in the show. And then I found out the cast director is like, oh, we're so glad you came back. We wanted to hire you a couple years ago, but we were on a hiring freeze because of 2011. You're our first indie we've hired since then. And I had the role of a lifetime.
That
so
is
in a way,
thing.
In a way, it was kind of, it was filling what I wanted to do in my life in a certain way. Let me see. Yeah. So this is one of my favorite pictures. So I live in Orlando. I'm there for like 10 years before I moved to LA, and just between Universal and Disney, and it was wonderful. I was meeting some of my best friends in my life, and doing the shows that I love every single day. And I kind of lean more towards Universal working there. It's just as a company, the way that they run companies. But I had got to play so many great roles and open so many different shows.
Stunts also at Universal at the time?
Yeah. You did stunt shows there. They had like a show called The Eighth Voyage of Sinbad, and I was Sinbad in that show. And I opened Jack Sparrow's pirate show in Magic Kingdom as Jack Sparrow. But so I'm doing Indiana Jones one day, and this show still to this day is one of my favorite shows I've ever done. And we're sitting there doing the show. And have you ever seen the show?
I think I've seen it like way back, probably when
it's one of those things that's like it's been there forever. So there's the show's divided into 3 scenes, and the first scene is kind of like the temple where he steals the idol, and the ball rolls after him, and then it cuts, and the set piece opens up, and the marketplace comes in, and we do the scene like he's being chased with him and Marion through the marketplace. But we have extras that have come out, and we're in between the setup of the show, and the sets are changing, and they have like a casting director and a director talking to the audience. And one of the stunt people is like next to me, like, hey, Mike, you nervous? I'm like, no, I've been doing the show for years. Like, oh, did you see who's in VIP? And I go, no, who's in VIP? I look over, I'm like kind of far away, but I'm looking over and I see the flannel and the gray beard of George Lucas in the audience. And I'm like, oh my, what the hell? What? So then luckily the show after that went great. But then, so we're sitting here and I was able to get, it's my favorite picture of all time.
Oh my God. I don't know.
So that was like, as Indiana Jones fan, like growing up, and I'm like awestruck. Like, and he was so nice, but very kind of reserved. He was very just kind of like, and his son there, Jet, was there, who I knew because I think around this time, Revenge of the Sith had probably just come out. I think it was like around 2005, and I remember seeing his son was in the movie, playing the one Jedi at the end. So I kind of knew that, and he was real talkative.
Yeah.
And so with this picture, I had this up my house for a while, and about 2 years ago, Shannon, my girlfriend, moved in with me, and I'll never forget because we're kind of doing the trade-off thing where I'm taking stuff down, she's bringing stuff in, and I'm over on the other side of that house, and I hear this, hey baby, who's this? And I'm like, huh? She's like, this guy in this picture with you. So I walk over here, and she holds up this picture. She's like, who's this guy in this picture? And I had this incredulous look in my head. I'm like, what? You don't know who this is? And she's like, no, I've never seen that person before. I was like, you've never seen this person before in your life. And she's an actress too, but it's like she's so much, I don't want to say, God, I said that's bad. She's not so much younger than me, but there's a little of an age difference between the two of us. I think 13 years, I think, 12. Oh, that doesn't sound good. That doesn't sound good, but my maturity level and her maturity level kind of balances us out. It does. But then I was like, well, I guess if you're not into those movies, and after a certain period, he really wasn't like I'm trying to think like a director out there right now who's constantly visible, but Lucas really isn't visible anymore. And he really wasn't for a while.
It's true. I mean, other other than Star Wars, I think the most recent movie of his that I had covered was Strange Magic, and that one certainly get out there a lot.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like all of you guys that do these interviews, my friends, and I'm like, I can't think of an interview that I've seen with Lucas even recently. I'm just like,
that was the only time I interviewed him.
Wow. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I guess. But I'll say this: like, if someone had pictures of football players on their walls, I couldn't tell you any of them. I would, if they're people like the picture of sports players. If you had a picture of the sports player on your wall, Perri, I'd have no idea who it was. 100% not know who that was. And I'm like, I'd like to think I'm kind of up on current events, but I'm like, okay. Maybe this relationship, maybe it's not dead, but
that's fair. I mean, probably like certain athletes I would not even know, and the only reason I would know some now is because I've grown obsessed with fantasy football the last few years, thanks to all the guys.
You're a big golfer, though.
There's probably a good deal of golfers that I would be able to recognize.
Not at all.
When I was a kid, whenever the Open came to our area, we had gone, and like I used to, as a kid, love standing like by the ropes and trying to get their autographs and everything. So those players I would definitely know.
Yeah, like Jack Nicholson. If I saw him, Arnold Palmer, I was like, those guys I would know, the big ones. But that's how I kind of felt with Lucas. It's like he's one of the icons.
Yeah,
he's an icon. And the beard and the flannel, it's like he's got his own thing. Like him, Tarantino, Scorsese, Spielberg, if you saw them, they all have those distinct looks. Spielberg's got the hat and the glasses. So you're just like, that's what every time you see them, they look like.
Who's your favorite filmmaker?
Oh, put me on the spot.
Yeah.
This is going to be a big hate one. I'm getting a lot of crap. I'm a big Snyder fan, Zack Snyder.
What? No. What?
I really am.
Didn't deserve that. Doesn't.
I'll say this. I love him because I love when they talk about movies. It just seems like their sets would be so much fun.
The sets must be incredible. One of the things that struck me most recently is, one of my favorite qualities of Zack Snyder's work are his visuals, because
absolutely
they're on another level and totally unique to him, where nobody can recreate them the same way. And I interviewed Wunmi Masaku, who has a small role in Batman vs Superman, and like I do genuinely wonder, like for an actor, can they feel the attention to detail that he's putting into like crafting a visual while they're trying to perform. And I love the fact that she told me she didn't notice any of that at all. Like he was purely into working with her to develop her character. And I'm like that's the sign of someone who knows how to run a set.
Yeah.
Be the conductor of his orchestra, so to speak.
Right. Like, I mean, for me, it's always like, their persona and what they give off. Like, it just seems like it would be such a wonderful set to be on with him. I know he's not a filmmaker, but Tom Cruise, I think just watching his sets, and I just recently watched the Mission Impossible films just because I was like, well, let's watch all of them again. And his commentaries with McQuarrie are so good because he loves making movies.
Yeah.
And I know I'm kind of torn because I would love to see him direct, but I know he has no desire to. Like he's never felt the need to direct. He doesn't want to, so I kind of admire that too. But just watching him and what they put into film, I was like, that'd be the coolest thing to work with these guys.
Yeah,
just to be on their set.
And he applies that kind of experience and knowledge through producing his stuff too.
That's true.
Like, as much as I would be curious to see what a Tom Cruise directed movie.
Yeah, it's like
if you don't have that natural drive to do that, you probably shouldn't do it, because that takes a lot of effort.
It's like he gets to do everything he wants, but doesn't have to worry about the directing part of it.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, and I admire that. There's too many people that kind of overreach sometimes, and I mean, no, I shouldn't say that you should fault them for wanting to do something that they're maybe out of their comfort zone. But he says like, nah, I don't have a desire to do it.
I would never fault someone for trying, but also if you didn't deliver and I was required to review your movie, I'd be honest about it.
See, you guys like. It's funny. I feel like I get lumped. I don't want to say lumped in, because like you guys are journalists and that's what you do. And I'm not a journalist. I'm not a host per se. I host a DC show, but that's only just because Roxy and those guys and Christian brought me on to the show because I'm a DC guy, not per se but so to see you guys, especially having to interview people that maybe aren't the best interviewee, which is awful, because you just watch these and you just watch how cringeworthy they are. And you're like, oh, these poor people try to pull stuff out of them. And you can tell that person doesn't want to be there, or it's a crap movie or something. And I never want to talk bad about a film on a level of like, I know what it's like on a small scale to just try and do anything film or TV and just the massive engine that it is to get made. So no one sets out to make a crap movie. No one goes, this is going to be awful, and we're still going to spend millions of dollars and waste 3 months of our lives doing this. So.
And I feel like even if, I do think that the term cash grab, I hate using it, but I think it applies sometimes from like a corporate executive level, but then you still have to think about the hundreds, if not thousands of, department heads and employees within those departments who are all hired, and they're all, very into their craft and trying to deliver the best possible work. I think that's why, admittedly, my reviews probably tend to skew more positive because like I'll sit there and think about every single element. And even if this part of a movie doesn't work, maybe that person's work is really achieving what they said it would do. So you got to take into account like every single person in every single department. So
definitely.
I want to know about the move from Orlando to LA, but first we do have D-Train with a super chat. Hope you guys have a great weekend. On my way to see Tenet in IMAX. It's been 6 long months. I'm excited and nervous at the same time. D-Train, please wear your mask. Take care of yourself. Take care of everybody around you. And also be kind to the theater employees who are there managing everything. I hope you stay safe, buddy.
I miss movies, man.
So just briefly, are you not in the position where you'd want to hop in a car, drive to Vegas and see Tenet? Yeah, I'm.
No, I mean, I really want to see that movie too. I mean, that's the thing. Like Nolan, like I love his films, but he's not a filmmaker. I don't think I would work would be like. I shouldn't say that. Like if I was given the opportunity, of course I would work with him. But his set seems so different. Like, he his mindset. But I remember like his it's the Batman films for me with him, of course. But then I love Prestige and Inception. And ever since then, they've kind of faltered for me. Is just not my thing. So with Tenet, I was like, okay, and I've always loved the fact that he loves James Bond. That's like my thing is James Bond. So I'm like, God, I want to see this guy make a Bond film, but I know he doesn't want to. I know he's made his own versions of these films. So when I heard about this film, I'm like, okay, but it wasn't until I saw the first. It was in IMAX. I forgot what movie I was seeing, but they were doing. Like the first scene, it was like in that opera house kind of like, I don't know if you saw that. It was like, there was like they were trying to gas this entire opera house. And it was like the first like 5 minutes of the film. And I remember seeing that. I was like, I'm sold. I cannot wait for this film. Like, cause it was awesome. And I want to say that was the last film I saw in theaters, like which this preview was back in February or January, maybe.
Back in February or Wow.
I know I saw Birds of Prey. That might have been the last film, but I don't think I think I might have saw Birds and it might have been that because it would have been a Warner Brothers film. And we saw the IMAX at City Walk at Universal. So I want to say that maybe they were just playing a special Tenet because he's done it for all his films in the IMAX. Like The Dark Knight Rises got those previews. But I remember seeing that and I remember tweeting out like instantly. I was like, I cannot wait for this movie because it had like the spy vibe to it and the action.
That probably is like that lines up.
Yeah.
February,
and so the fact like this is a film, like it's not like Mulan. Like I can't not see this in IMAX. I can't not see it in a theater. He designs his films for that. Like,
and IMAX is one of the best. Frill is probably not the right word, but the way I often think about it is, like. I wasn't into 3D whatsoever. Right. And I know there are a lot of people are, and if you are, that's totally cool. 3D never really did enough for me to say, like, I can't see that movie any other way but 3D. The extra dimension makes all the difference.
Right.
But I do think the IMAX experience really does make a difference. And if I were to pick one filmmaker where you could see that in his work more so than anyone, it is definitely Nolan.
Yeah. I did watch, and I see every the Mission Impossibles just because since Ghost Protocol. And I remember that scene in The Verge. It's insane. And then like Rogue Nation where he's hanging off the plane. I'm just like, it was incredible.
It really is.
But yeah, so for now with movies, I'm just like, I don't really like what they're doing with it because I think it's going to hurt the film. It's already leaked out there and it'll be a matter of time before spoilers start dropping. And Mulan made sense. Like for some reason, like Black Widow, I wouldn't mind if they dropped it. I don't know why. I don't know why. It's not like an end game to me. Like, now I got to see that on the big screen.
Yeah.
Widow, which I'm really excited for. But on the other hand, I see in the chat people are talking about No Time to Die. Like, no, that's a movie theater for me. Like, I guess it's hit or miss. I'm not sure, like, because I don't know when the end is near for us, especially out in LA.
That's the problem, and it's
yeah.
There's so many factors. It's like you could look at it from a personal perspective, and if you say I cannot see this movie any other way but on the big screen, that is your choice, and I respect that. There's the filmmaker's intention, and I think that was a big thing with Nolan. Then there's also there's fine print in contracts that boxes a studio into releasing it a certain way because of the deals they struck. There's no end in sight. It's all so confusing. And,
that's the thing. Like,
solution, and there's not.
Yeah, it was nice to see during the DC fandom a couple weeks ago, where like with Wonder Woman, they were like, "Nope, it's coming. That's theaters. We've said that, and it's theaters." And the big posters. I live right next to Warner Brothers here on Burbank, and the signs outside have changed, but it says coming to theaters. The date's gone. So, and that's a movie theater. Like, I want movies to come back. I miss the movie popcorn.
I miss driving by the studios and seeing all those posters.
I know. I do love living here. It's so funny. I'm sorry.
In that area, there's so much traffic, but I kind of do like the opportunity to pause in front of Warner Brothers and really get to look at every single thing.
Yeah, it's funny because I have like my websites that I go to and my kind of daily news stuff, and it's interesting. Like, slowly each day, it was like a slow progression of like, why don't I stay on the internet as much as I used to? Because there's no news. It's not like there's no big casting announcements and no on-set review, set visits and stuff like that. It's like, oh wow, now 5 months into this, the cycle's shifting. Mm-hmm. So as a fan, not someone that does that stuff, I'm just like, we gotta start. It's
far fewer. Like we don't have that, and it's very uncertain. Clearly, with recent news too, what's going to happen with production. But I do feel like the silver lining is that the news cycle is shifting in favor, or not necessarily the news cycle, but just online coverage of film in general is shifting in favor of some streaming titles that we might not have been exposed to or been inclined to click on if we were inundated with the big studio theater releases. So some movies that might not have been getting the love in our normal before are getting it now, and a little silver lining that I'm holding tight to.
Yeah, and it's always it's shifts like this in the industry that's always like, oh, this is going to cause big change.
Yeah,
and from the acting side and whatnot. So we kind of got to ride with it, and we'll see what happens with it. So.
E-Train has another question. I have a feeling this is directed at you too. Thought on the No Time to Die trailer?
I liked it. I think it's giving a little too much away. I know a lot of people went crazy for it, but the first trailer for me sold me. Like the Craig films have been kind of up and down for me.
Yeah.
But it's interesting with Bond, with him. It's a single narrative. All his films have tied together, which has never been the case for Bond. Bond is always standalone. Each film different, doesn't continue over. So it's nice to see. I think this is his last one. You could tell. So I'm trying not to watch anymore. For me, it was kind of like the Wonder Woman trailer, the one we got at Fandom. Like, I liked it, but I didn't need it.
No,
I'm sold. And I don't want to. I want to. You're different than me in the sense that you get exposed and you have to be to keep up with it and to know what's going on and to be ready to go with these filmmakers. But like I've stepped back. When I was younger, I wanted every bit of knowledge. I wanted set visits. I wanted set pictures. So the less I see now, the better I try to be about it. And I try and just block stuff out because I don't want to. Yeah, I like the excitement about it. So I'm on board for the film. I just don't want to see anymore.
Lately, there's been less pressure on me to watch every single trailer. And I kind of appreciate that. And I guess it must be connected to what's going on in the world today.
Maybe.
But I haven't been as inundated with that as I normally have been. And I'm kind of thankful for that.
Yeah.
We've got Charles Harkin here. Are Joaquin, Brie, and J-Law the only actors with billion-dollar movies and an Oscar? I'd have to.
Do you mean just 2020 actors? Like, I mean, God, can you imagine the Oscar coverage at the end of this year and every whoa, was it? I think Makuga's nailed it on the money. Bad Boys for Life. That's going to be the Academy. Like, what is?
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean,
I know they're pushing things back, and maybe they'll make even more adjustments. But I really did like the idea of, let's say, Elizabeth Moss snagging a Best Actress nomination.
Yeah, that was a great film.
And she's great in it. And sometimes those kinds of movies don't get the recognition they deserve just because like the Academy is used to considering a certain pool of movies and not others. So I would like to see her honored. We got a whole bunch from Charles here.
Yeah.
Is Amy Adams and Jessica Chastain the only A-list actresses not to have an Oscar who will win first? Amy Adams is they're both freaking wonderful, but I've interviewed Amy Adams more, and she is a delight. And she also, do you know what a spoonerism is?
A spoonerism?
You don't know what a spoonerism is?
No idea.
This might be one of like my greatest joys of life, is to explain spoonerisms to people.
No, I have no idea.
It's when you have a person's name and you swap the first letter of your first and last name. So I'm actually not going to say yours because it's a bad word. This just did me
from your studies right there too.
But I'm Neri Pemeroff.
That works though.
And I interviewed Amy Adams, and she got very upset when she realized that.
Oh, poor Amy.
A spoonerism, but I'll always hold her high.
Is that your word? Did you create that word, or is it just that's the name for what when you do that?
A spoonerism is a thing, but it's definitely something that I've made my thing. Because when I was a kid, I was watching local news with my parents, and I think it was Janice Huff from NBC4 New York. She accidentally said Bruce Willis instead of Bruce Willis, and I thought it was the funniest thing in the world. So now I just do it all the time, and I really annoy people.
Mine would be awful. Mine's terrible to do. You couldn't do it.
I'm not doing it. We got another one from Charles. How would a TV drama about the four former Robin play with audiences?
I think the Batman Robins, right, Charles? You're talking about like Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim Drake, and I guess Damien.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's like they got a video game coming out with the Gotham Knights video game that was talked about a fandom that's going to be covered. I think that's a lot of history there for fans that are not. These shows have to be made for a wide audience. When you're putting that much money behind it, and you've got a property like Batman, and if you're throwing in 4 Robins, that's 85 years of Batman you're throwing at people. And I think it's for a very niche audience. Titans does it pretty well. Titans is covering it pretty good.
Get back to Titans. I watched the first 2 episodes of Titans and was not feeling it, but I heard such great things.
Oh, it gets so much better.
I feel like if I had stuck with it, I probably really would have dug it.
Yeah, I was with like you. The first couple, I was like, oh, this is this is not good. And then WB with that app found their like Doom Patrol and Swamp Thing, and then they found their groove. It's like then they were really good. Titans got good.
Swamp Thing, that was great.
Yeah, Titans. I would even say the second season is where they really found their footing. So if you have a chance, get back into it because
I wouldn't let myself just go to the good stuff. I have to watch it all.
You have to because it does build on itself.
All right. So back to you. So you have all the success in Orlando at the parks, and then when do you kind of, I don't know if it felt like this, but rip the Band-Aid off and move to LA?
Well, it had gotten to the point I was doing a lot of auditioning in Georgia because that's where the market was really big, and self-taping, which is kind of the new, it's normal now. It's every day. Like that was kind of the odd thing back then, but because I was in Florida, it allowed it to get me opportunities. And my first television booking was on Vampire Diaries that I booked. And that was like my first co-star role. It was my first television role. And then after,
were you in?
I was in. This is another one of those crazy things. It was like I auditioned for a scene. Apparently, they shot it. The scene happened at the beginning of the episode. There were these 2 hikers in the woods, and a vampire comes upon them and kills them. But apparently, I guess the vampires or the hikers, the costume designers dressed them, and they looked like Elmer Fudd because they had the big hats with shotguns, and they were going through the woods. And I guess the LA people saw them like, these are Elmer Fudd. You can't do this. Recast, rewrite the scene, create a different character. And they rewrote it as a hiker instead of hunters. And it was 1 hiker. And my agent got me the audition and said, you got to tape this by tomorrow and send it. We sent it off. And that was like Thursday. And at the time, I was in rehearsals for the American Idol show at Hollywood Studios. They had like an American Idol sponsored show, and I was a host for it, and I was in rehearsals for it. And I get a call like 8 o'clock at night from my agent. She's like, "Hey, we're 3 hours behind LA, or we're 3 hours ahead of LA. Your name went to network. Their network is just approving you. You should know within an hour." And the casting calls me and they're like, "Hey, you got it. You got to be in Atlanta by tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. So I went to the manager and I explained what happened. My stage manager loved Vampire Diaries, and he's like, "Get out of here, go, get in your car and go." And my girlfriend at the time, I was calling her, and she had a bag packed for me, and I got my bag and I drove to Atlanta that morning throughout the night. I got there early so that people were like, "Oh, we don't need you for a couple hours, so hang out at the hotel, we'll come get you." And I shot the next day, and they were very great. They were like, "Stay the night in the hotel. You don't have to run back. It's the weekend, so stay the whole weekend, and you're paid through." And I'm like, "Okay." It was kind of a whirlwind thing, and I was back home on Monday, and then from there, that got me it opened some doors in Florida, and then I got a nice role. There's a TV show called Drop Dead Diva. I think it was Lifetime.
Yeah,
it was really popular on Lifetime, and more popular than I thought it was because it wasn't something that I watched.
I feel so out of the loop when it comes to Lifetime and Hallmark stuff, which has like an enormous fan base.
Following.
I feel so detached from it.
And it was weird because it was before Twitter wasn't really it was there, but it wasn't like what it would be now. And it wasn't until later that I found so many fans of that show on Twitter. But then that led to a role in that show that was the big episode and a big role for me. So with those two like under my belt, I was like, okay, now I've got credits, I've got SAG credits, I've got my SAG eligibility. Now's the time, because I'd always had a number in my head for financially what I wanted to have, and I had surpassed that. So I was like, okay, I've got the SAG eligibility, I've got my money, and I was dating a girl at the time who wanted to move to LA too. But I kept dragging my feet. I was still like, work was so good, and I had so many friends, and I was scared, and I just kept making excuses. So it got to the point my girlfriend was like, "Well, Mike, I love you, but I'm going to LA, and if you want to come, let's do this. If you don't, we can try and make it work long distance, but I'm going." So it was kind of like that was the ripping the Band-Aid off, like you said, and we did it, and that led me out here.
So how long have you been in LA for now?
Now it's been 9 years. Wow. It's crazy to think that. For the longest time, I was like, "Oh, this is all. I've only been here this long. I've only been here this long." And then like last year hit, and I was like, "Wow, it's been that long." So I guess I'm almost here longer than I was in Orlando for 10 years. So next May of 2021, that'll be 10 years for me out here. So it's weird. It doesn't seem it.
Yeah.
Because I had to start all over. I worked for Disney and Universal out here. So a lot of my stuff was very similar, and very similar to Orlando. It didn't happen for me for almost 10 years. My first big booking was almost 10 years after I moved to Orlando. So I had success here sooner than that. But it's very slow going. And it's, I don't know how it is with you, but for me, it's waves. Like it goes in yearly waves. Like my first big year out here was 20. I had some really cool bookings right out of the bat that just were like flukes, I think. And then it wasn't until 2015 I had my first like big LA booking. And then 2016 was awful. 2017 was phenomenal. 18 was awful. 19 was really good. And 20 has been terrible. So I go in yearly. My roller coaster for actors is like, people say I have ups and downs. Mine is like years ups and downs. So I'm in my down year.
I feel like in my sector, the ups and downs are like more frequent and like volatile. It's like I'll have where I get all the interviews in the world, and then I'll have like a week where I'm not thrilled with my interview. It's not quite the same, but with all it's like, who was I just? It was Erin Moriarty for the boys. That was one of the most recent ladies' nights, and she was busy telling me that. Have you ever seen The Kings of Summer?
No, I have not.
Great movie. And it's Jordan Vogt Roberts' feature directorial debut. And it was a big deal for her because it was a Sundance hit. And she was telling me that movie comes out and it gets like all of this love. And she thought it was going to be smooth sailing from there. And then it worked for, I think she said, a year and a half after that movie came out. And I give actors all the credit in the world. Like one So I went to film school, but not for acting. And even though I didn't pursue acting, one of the first courses they make us take, and I was a producing student in that program, was a class called Directing the Actors. And in that class, everyone had to direct an actor. And then at one point you would flip-flop and you would have to be the actor. And it wasn't until I took that class that like I really felt what it feels like to try to like force yourself into a role, but also like take direction from someone else. And my respect in that department just went through the roof. But also like the whole nature of it, like putting yourself out there and auditioning and the ups and the downs and managing that. Seriously, I'm in awe of everyone who does that.
I'm very fortunate. I have a very talented actor, best friend of mine out here, he's been out here much longer than I had, and he helped me navigate a lot of the pitfalls that many actors fall into. So I'm and him and I were completely separate types, so we never go up for the same auditions. We go up for like the same shows, but just different roles. He's like on like a cop show or something. He's the tech guy, and I'm like the agent. That's like our two different areas. But so I had him. He's very, very successful, but also I think on the other hand, I guess my mentality. Someone gave me some great advice. They were always like, if you're a successful actor, your life will be a series of part-time jobs. And that's been in my head ever since I got into this. So and I've always had like the theme parks as a backing, and I've always had income and income in a field that allows me to still act, where I'm still acting. So I'm not creatively, excuse me, it's early here. Creatively, I'm not creatively struggling. So I still have that outlet, but also our world, like, I mean, and I guess it comes full circle, Schmoedown, and that's why the Schmoedown is so great, because there are people who are just trivia and they just know the trivia and they love that. And then there's people like me that love the acting and I love the character. So it allows me to do that. So I'm very fortunate that everything in my orbit is acting related.
Yeah.
So it helps these times where there's nothing going on.
Yeah. It's like on the one hand, it's scary, but on the other, it's inspiring to see how many people are pivoting, and even people, trying new things or finding new ways to express what they were doing before. I'm just trying to hold on to the idea of who knows when all of this does go back to normal, or at least to a degree. Like maybe the end result for the industry is that now there's even more possibilities because of all the stuff we discovered in lockdown.
Yeah, I think there's no talk of the industry going away. There's never going to be not films. There's never not going to be TV. You look at it this way, look at not to bring politics into it or anything, but people talk about which essential industries and this and that at this time of what we're going through. Yeah, but every single person is stuck at home binge watching thousands and thousands of hours of content. So those performers are essential and creative. We've seen that the arts is incredibly important.
Yeah.
And it helps us get through. Also the arts is a great mirror for what we are in society. So it's going to be interesting to see what this past year or whatever it's going to end up being into, how we look back on it through the arts, and it'll always be there. It's just going to change and adapt. And my friend, one of the not roommates, one of the people that lives in my building, he is a person, his job is change, where now he goes to sets and implements these safety changes. So he comes home every day and he's like, man, the effing grips on these sets, they don't want to wear their masks. They sit in their corner smoking. And we're like, guys, you got to wear the masks. Like, so it's interesting, like, because he's on set, and I think he's on SWAT because they started filming, but like the actors do their own makeup now. And you get your little baggie and you do your own touch-ups, you do your own hair, which is something for me. I've always, as a guy, when like they come to set and they're doing my hair, I'm like, what are you doing? And they always try to do it differently than I wear it. I'm always like, well, you hired me. You know what I look like. You saw the tape, my headshot. Well, what is this you're putting on me now? What is this? And so now that's a little thing. I'm kind of like, well, that happens and changes. I hope no one's out of a job, but I'm like, I'll do my own thing. Yeah, that's the other thing. You don't want people to be out of jobs. You don't want makeup artists to not have jobs.
So I can't believe I hadn't thought about what you just said, though. The fact that like the requirement of these safety protocols essentially does create another job for someone who is, an expert in that field and actually has to implement that stuff or make sure that the crew implements it themselves.
Yeah. So it's, as jobs maybe go away or, it's weird. Like a big thing I heard early on in talk of, and I hope this doesn't come true, is like the casting industry, not casting industry, the casting extras, and
yeah,
they're not gonna have extras on set. And I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I mean, things that I heard early on, like, oh, there's not gonna be any kissing scenes or romantic scenes. I was like, come on, that's and the fight scenes. I'm like, okay, that's not really gonna work.
I was just scrolling through Twitter the other night, and like I was scrolling quickly. I don't know if this is legit or not, but apparently there's a show out there that was filming and like swapped in a mannequin for a kiss scene.
Okay, like that's ridiculous. I'm like, you go to set, you take your temperatures, you make sure you're like our friend, or like a mutual friend, or Stacey Howard, like if she booked a TV show or booked a movie and she's has to like, but I guess the movie's already done their testing. And she's the one coming in, so she has to get the testing done herself, and it has to be like rapid.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I'm all for that. Like we talk about, I wouldn't see a movie in theaters right now, but if I was booked on a set, yeah, I'd do the protocols. I'd keep my mask on. I'd stay away from people if I wasn't filming. I wouldn't be hanging out in a circle. But you do your thing, just be vigilant.
Yeah.
But don't. See, I guess that's the thing. I'm vigilant, but I'm not. I don't know. It's tough to say, because if they said, hey, you're in your house 3 weeks, you can't do a damn thing, you can't go out, make sure you got food for 3 weeks so we can get rid of this thing once and for all, I'd be like, let's do it.
Yeah.
I need life back to normal.
The thing is trusting other people to do the same.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and just I went for groceries last night. I'd get like some soda. We had dinner, and I was like, I gotta go to the grocery store. I'm walking in, the guy's got this, he's like, with the I was like, put the damn thing. Why can you not do that? Why?
I don't really get it. I was talking about it with my buddy Matt last night. Like, the thing that I don't get that I see so many people do is wearing the mask under their nose. And it's like, one,
I thought about that.
It doesn't do anything, but two, that's not any more comfortable.
No.
So why are you doing it?
I look at this and I see these people. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, okay, that's got to be like, hey, I'm not doing this mask. I'm not going to wear it. You're telling me I have to. This is me being a child and being petulant. That's my only thought, is like, because it's on the face. It's on the face. And then I've gotten to the point, and I don't know about you, when I wear it, I don't even think about it anymore. It's now become, what's the rule? Is it like you have to do something for like 21 days and then it becomes routine? Is that what it is? Like,
I mean, that sounds about right.
I heard something, I think it was like, I heard about like working out or something. If you stick to a program or something for like 21 days, your body, or if you wake up at a certain time and you set it like, I can't wake up early, but if you do it at that time, like for 21 days, your body's like, it's routine now, you can do it. So we've been doing this for months. Just what the thing? I don't get it.
I'm trying to, not that it's like a fun thing that we're doing, but I'm trying to embrace the fun of it. And it's like the boys sent a pack and it came with the boys mask. And I don't know if a mask is another way to express my love of a TV or show or film. Like, I'm gonna do that.
I've been trying to find some cool Batman ones, but the only ones I see is like, it makes your face look like Batman. So I'm like, I might get too many looks for that one, but I was like, but yeah, I'll just put the fucking mask on. Yeah, I moved away from the surgical mask. I was like, well, we're wearing these for a while now. I remember I had like my first audition in like quarantine era, and I was like, well, I don't want to walk in with the surgical mask, so let me go to Target and buy one of these like blue things. So that's what I'm rocking now.
I was wearing those for a while, but then I started to get inundated with Instagram advertisements for masks.
Oh.
My eye, and actually got me to purchase it, was this company called Halo, and it turns out it's like a plain black mask. It's nothing fancy looking, but it turns out that is like like the sleekest, most comfortable thing that I've found, and I love it. Yeah,
it's part of my life now. And I probably could buy a nicer one, like more comfortable one. Like this one, like it doesn't fit me as well. Like I've had to tie the things, but I'm like, it's a mask. It's life.
We're going to be buying a lot of them in the months is my prediction.
Yeah.
I do have Schmoedown questions for you. And in particular, I want to know. Let
me just say real quick that this is, I think, is the longest I've talked to someone without Schmoedown. And I love it. Like, I feel bad because I'm guilty. I'm so guilty, but we all get together. Like, I feel so bad for Rachel Cushing because anytime we get together, her and I, and we don't want to talk about Schmoedown, we talk Schmoedown. Anyone else, it's always, and I feel bad. And we're out in public and stuff. And then I remember that we were there for Rachel Cushing's, we didn't know it at the time, it was her birthday, but it was when Sam proposed to her. And everyone there, all Schmoedown people, but I'm just like, I don't want to talk Schmoedown. In my head, I'm saying this, don't, because they might not want to. But then that devolves into it. And it's like, Here we go.
But I mean, that happens with anything that's a big part.
I know. But we've gone an hour without it, so wow.
I know.
I'm thankful that I didn't do it.
I don't want to talk about current gameplay. I'm more curious, like, when did you realize you were good at it? Like,
Am I good at it though? That's the thing. Like, I didn't know. What was our match? I didn't know us. Was that it? Yes, us. It was like the tether question. I was like, in my head, I'm like,
that match. I didn't get Gremlins.
That's a tougher one. That's a movie tagline. That's a tough category.
I've come to realize that taglines are my biggest weakness, because that seems to be the category where I talk myself out of the right answer most easily.
And it's your wheelhouse. Like, a lot of times those posters are behind the people. Yeah. But in your defense, movies have 50 million taglines.
I know.
There's got the MCU films alone. They each have like 3 or 4. The Star Trek films have got 5 or 6. So I'm sorry. So you want to know how
when was the moment where you realized I'm pretty good at this?
Well, Christian was always like, I came in 2016 was my first match. So it had been going on a couple of years and I didn't really watch it. I remember I was out for dinner. We were going to see BBS in the Grove, and I was dinner with Roka was there, and Scott Mance comes running up. He's like, "You knew that Bestman question. You knew it, and you lied. You mother." We're in the middle of the restaurant. I'm like, "What is going on?" And Roka's like, "Oh, it's not a Bestman question." And I'm like, "What are you playing?" He's like, "What's the trivia?" And I'm like, "What?" Like, I knew Christian, I knew Schmoes and everything, but I just didn't watch the Schmoedown. I didn't know at the time it wasn't what it was. And so then I watched it. Christian was always like, "You want to get involved?" Like, "What do you think you could do?" And I remember watching Inner Geekdom. And I was like, "Oh, I'll go into that. I'll do that." But he didn't get me an Inner Geekdom right away. I played a regular match right away. And did I play Inner? No, it was Ashley Robinson. I don't think, maybe it was the Inner Geekdom match. God, it's been so long.
I feel like Geekdom didn't even exist for a while. Because 2016 is when I first moved to LA. And I vividly remember.
Oh, so you're young in LA.
Before, I'm like, I still can't believe I'm kind of like 4.5 years, even though I lost half a year this year.
That feels like how I felt like when people ask me. I'm just like, I've only been here for 4 years. Like, and the guy's like, I've been here 10. I'm that guy now. I've become the 10 guy.
I'm probably going to be that person. But before I even committed to moving to LA, I did a couple of like test trips to LA to like work in the studio for a little. And then I did an apartment hunting trip. And on my apartment hunting trip is when they were testing things out for Schmoedown in the studio.
Oh, wow.
That was like the very beginning of it, like as you see it on the Collider set.
Yes, because I remember the set. They used to have that little like weird kind of like Howard Stern, like in the early 90s booth set up with the couch. They would do it, and Finstock with that damn mask and Ken the pit boss. And I'm like, what are these people? What is this guy with this disgusting mask on and no shirt? And we used to film DC Movie News in that studio because Christian, he used to have a studio. He used to do a podcast called Far, Far Away. It was him, Tiffany Smith, and they were like a geek, not Geek and Sundry, but there was this weird Burbank and Van Nuys, like in a junkyard.
Was it the Stream? Was that what?
I'm sorry?
The Stream?
Maybe, but it was like the studio was like it was like on a street in Burbank. And every building was like an auto repair shop. But then they had this, you go into the studio and it was this awesome studio. They had sets and a sound booth. And that's where I met, that's where I was a guest in their Far, Far Away podcast. And that's where I guess they were the old AfterBuzz studio, which was a house out in like Van Nuys. And Christian, that's where they filmed a lot of it. And Christian was like, they're trying to get a DC show going. And he knew I was a DC fan. And they put me in touch with Roxy and those guys. But I remember, I would pass them back and forth in the studio. I'm like, what is this? So it wasn't until the Collider era, I guess they called it the Collider era, which that's where my first match was, and that's where I came in. But again, I didn't know what I was getting into because Roka was this outgoing personality at the time, but everyone else was just trivia people. And I was not knowing what to do, but I knew I had to have a character. And it took me a while to find my footing in that. It took me a long time to get into it. And I guess when I finally did the whole going heel and my storyline took off in 2017 or 18, that's where it clicked for me. But the movie trivia was always like, especially in singles play, I don't think it hit for me until, I don't know, I didn't really take it seriously for a long time. And I guess 2017, 2018, and then my match against Clark Wolf, it was a #1 contender match, where the trivia is like, oh, if I put my mind to this, I can be good at it. If I don't, if I take it seriously, I can be good at this. That's where it was.
It's also interesting to me to hear that, like, when you found the personality aspect of it, it kind of all clicked too. Because I think I was blinded by the person. I think the personality part of it and having to play into that made me overlook the strategy. So it's like I was busy rapping all the time when I probably should have just been like studying, thinking about how to play the game.
I never studied before, and it wasn't until the character stuff took off and I became like kind of this mouthy guy. Like I was like, oh, I got to back it up. I can't just lose and be as, pain in this jerk guy and start losing. And it all just kind of fell together. And I think it was a period when acting was kind of slow, so it allowed me the time to do it. I guess I don't know. Like singles play, I feel that's my weakest league. It's like studying movies for inner geekdom. That's something I love. So when I got to sit down and watch those movies, I love it. And it's been as you can tell with like Indiana Jones, it made me who I am. The movies, and especially the inner geekdom ones. Whereas the other movies, I mean, look at our match. New releases. I had not seen a single one of those films. I should, being it that I love movies, but I just didn't. And I knew you knew them all. So I saw your face out of the corner of my eyes, like, oh, she knows every one of these. And just by chance, I didn't see a single one of those 4 films. But that's like, so I have my weaknesses, and it's just like, but studying those films and singles, I talk about this a lot. Like you could watch, let's say, leading up to your and my match, like I could watch 50 films.
Yeah.
And not one of those questions not one of those films will come up. Whereas inner geekdom, it's happened where I watched a movie a night before a match and I got a question about that match. I got a question about that movie. So there's that level of like, oh, if I don't watch all these movies by the match, I'm in trouble. Whereas singles, I'm like, let's go. Let's see what happens.
I think about the luck of the draw element of it quite. I think that's been key to the return too, is like, just like chill out, like so little of it in your control, just have fun and play. And like, that was the most important thing in the match. Like I freaking had a blast playing with you and having everybody there. It was so much fun.
That's the weird part, because we talked a little bit about it afterwards, because I reached out to you on Twitter and I like a message like, hey, sorry I didn't say anything afterwards, because like I felt like, because it sucks. And that loss, like for 2 days, I was like, the losing sucks. It's being competitive and losing, and then especially like when you're like a bat, they hate when we see a heel and face and all that, but like when you're one of those characters and you lose, and the good thing is, it's like I've been in so many matches now where it's like people guarantee, like they're like, oh, Kalinowski's winning, this and that. But like with you, you had so many fans. You have so many fans who are like Perri for the upset, and I don't usually go into comment sections, but afterwards I was like, oh, they're celebrating you, but also not knocking me down. So it's really kind of if I was gonna lose, that's the way to lose. Like when you don't want people going, oh God, they crapped the bed. Holy crap, they're awful. They retire. But they were more celebrating you because you have so many. You're like the Dan Murrell, whereas you have so many fans from the outside of what you do. Like I watched Dan Murrell and like, gosh, like he made a. Here's the thing about Dan Murrell. Like, he made a comment. Like I was making a joke about they have not given us the belts yet, the team's belts. I'm like, where's my belt? And Dan's like, hey, I'm in Arizona. Give me a break. And I was like, oh, Dan, you didn't have to leave the state because we beat you. But his comment on my comment pad had 150 likes. His one comment, the thread itself that started had like 20 likes. His comment had 150 likes. The people love him.
Yeah.
I think it's with you, the Schmoedown. It's like
you throwing my name in a sentence with him is already a great honor.
Because you built the audience, and your fans come from your outside world. My DC group is a very small group compared to you. You reach worldwide audiences with your journalism, so your fandom comes with that. So they know you. So it's a great backing. So I love the fact that I hate seeing matches where it's like so one favorite is an opponent, because I've come to learn, and as our match has shown, it's anyone's game.
Yeah.
As Dan had learned early on, being beaten by a competitor that no one thought was going to win. It's anyone's game, and I think that's what's great about the game. I haven't had a chance to talk about it since then, because things have moved on it moves so fast now. But it's like our match is a prime example of why the Schmoedown is so great, because it doesn't matter who's favored, who's got momentum. It's anyone's game. That wheel can spin any way. The questions can go any way, and it's anyone's game. And I think anyone's got a chance.
I think there's something about that speaks to my like newfound draw to it. Is there something about the game mechanics that I don't know, like it just excites me more in general.
Right, I mean, you're sitting there. Yeah, when you were sitting in the match, and I remember you would Corey, like, just don't go Bond, just don't go Bond. In my head, like, go Bond, please God, go Bond. Please give us Bond.
That was the one big thing.
I know.
I knew you were a good player, but all I heard was like, just don't let him get Bond. I'm like, don't let him get, like, what am I gonna do about that?
It's so in my head, I was just like, oh, please get Bond, because I could see like, but I knew like I think my first one you put on Pixar, right? Was that one of your things?
Yeah, I think I put
Pixar on new releases. So, and those were the two I spun on, and so I'm like, here we go. And I mean, of course, looking back, I should have stuck Pixar, because I would have been I don't know, because the new releases is such a hit or miss. It's 18 months, and I see a lot of movies, but it just is not what it hits. And but then like
is a lot. I feel like, given what I do on a day-to-day basis, if even I can get a new release question that feels like it's like in a black hole of knowledge for me, I can't even imagine how hard that must be for people who don't cover movie news on a daily basis.
It was like, and it's like, that's the thing. And I think, but that also levels the playing field. It's what it is. And it's the game. It is the game. And it sucks to lose, but that's life. That's life. Nothing you can do.
I am a very, very competitive person, and I take losses very hard, which, probably connects the dots between my 2-year absence from the game. But I'm also like, I enjoy competition too. And I enjoy and respect the game, and the draw to come back was there big time.
It's so funny because there was a period, like we'd said, like it was like 2017, like it was me and Makuga. It was one of my favorite matches, because I brought him a 6-pack of beer, and we were just drinking beer during the match and having fun. Like, and I think John Rocco recently tweeted out, he wants to get back to that, where it's like, it's fun. I shouldn't say it's not fun. It's very fun. But like building up to our match, and then the whole Inner Geekdom tournament, it was taking like all my time, and I was like stressing out. I don't sleep the night before. But also Christian, and he's built this thing now, and it's this massive. I mean, I bet there are people. I do a show at Universal, and it's called the Special Effects Show, and it's like a hosting show for 20 minutes. It's about special effects, and I've met people, and they'll come. The ushers will come after. It's like, hey, Mike, a guest of the show's outside wants to say hello to you, and I'm like, okay, and I'm thinking, oh, they like the show, cool. And he's like, hi, Mike, killer. That's their first words, killer. I'm a big fan. I'm from Turkey. I've met people at Universal from all over the world because of the Schmoedown.
Yeah.
Like, my audience, as far as like who I am, is, and so what he's built, and I told him, I'll forever be a part of it, whatever he needs, and to support, because of it's this audience. It's got this global audience for me, and I enjoy it so much. And people are now able to separate me as a character from me as a person, because that's sometimes hard to see the character I play. And it's so funny seeing you, because like I was like, oh gosh, we've never interacted with each other outside of really this, and I don't want to be a jerk to her. And luckily we didn't. There's no history with our characters, so I didn't have to go come full guns blazing. I was like, oh, this is gonna suck.
I don't even know what my character is anymore.
I know. I like the video.
I'm the least scary person in the league.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, so there's not like it was with Alba when him and I went on Inner Geekdom against each other. There was like no history. There's no needing to be that. So that was fun. So
yeah, I just love the fun of it all, and I love the community, and this speaks to that too. So I think this is Caleb, and Caleb's super cool. He's part of my Patreon community, and I feel like there's definitely people that I've met through Schmoedown, through Collider. There's something like, I'm so grateful for Patreon, because it obviously, keeps the lights on, but we've also been able to create like a community of like genuinely kind, supportive people. And when that group follows you to anything that you do, it really does make you feel like you can do anything, because they always have your back.
Yeah. It's like, there's so many people, I'll go on so many people's streams and stuff, and I get asked like, do I have one? And it's interesting because we have such a small community, and I feel like if there were to be a day when I could create something that I would be different, I would go for it, because I would love to reach out to people more, and I enjoy that. I think that's why I just go on other people's stuff, because I just love, it's all kind of the same, I don't want to say community, but like the fan, it's so massive.
Yeah.
And everyone is out there supporting each other. So
there's a lot of crossover there, but I think that's to how strong our network is.
Right.
I mean, that's just what happens. It's like when someone sees you on a stream with someone else, it's like, huh, like I like him here. I want to follow him. Others, and that's how we all get so intertwined, and that's why we're probably all intertwined for the extent of our careers.
I know.
There's just so much crossover. I'm so grateful for that. I mean,
seriously, oh gosh, yeah.
Jumping back into the league has been like a very nice reminder of how many special people are a part of it, and how grateful I feel to, I don't know, even have like one foot in that world with them.
Yeah, it's a massive community, and it's changed so much, and it's interesting because I used to get really, really, like, I would go at people hard if they came at me like about calling me underrated or this or that. But then that's kind of subsided a little bit. But on the other hand, it's also like, oh, we're kind of like a corporation now. We're sponsored, and I was like, oh, I can't be doing that anymore. So it's also allowed me to kind of step back and go, okay, I'll let be a little more professional with it. So.
Well, I hope that this chat gave everybody the opportunity to learn a little more about how you guys.
I see some people in the chat. They're like, I used to hate you, Mike, but now I like you.
I mean, I hate is such a strong word, and I always try not to use it. I'll say this. If someone's saying that about your character, like, you're kind of doing the job that you were supposed to be doing.
That's the thing, and I hope people see that, because there were some people I couldn't tell, and they'll come at me, and there were a couple, this is a little while ago, they're like, it's not the character, it's Kalinowski, and I hate him. I can't stand him. I'm like, what? And then, but then the people, like, I love meeting people at live events. I love the live events and traveling all over the country, because people can see that I can take the character down and be just who I am. And maybe that's, eventually I'll start, get a Patreon going, and just to be able to kind of, just open up a little bit more, but I know Christian likes to keep the character up there. So
yeah, I do. If that's something you're interested in, I do highly recommend it, because again, the community that I've found through, like, when I first started Patreon, I'm like, I don't want to like take money from people, even though I know I can't do this without that. But then it turned into so much more than that, and I don't know. I want everybody to have what I have there, because it feels so special.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of a slow building. Like, I want to provide something I wouldn't want to take away from other people in the community. But then again, on the other hand, there's so many fans. They're so awesome. Every time they're popping up with their stream lives and their super chats. I'm like, what? How do these people? What are they doing?
Yeah.
How do they have so much money? But then I'm thinking, it's like, well, think about it. Okay, and I try to. It's like these people all over the country, all over the world. They have their jobs. They have probably steady jobs. Maybe they don't have the entertainment, or this is their entertainment, instead of buying X amount of movies a week or Blu-rays or video games, and they get the interaction. It's not just, hey, I'm spending $30 for going to a movie. This is me talking to a personality that I like, and I'm interacting with them. I'm like, okay, so it's just me now finding what would make me different. What can I provide? And also something that I love, that I'm just not out there to do. I want it to be a passionate thing. So it's out there, because I love the community, and I want to be a bigger part of it, I guess.
Well, there's definitely people who want to talk to you, like TJN214. Mike, would you trade your 3 wins against Founding Fathers for the 1 live win in Orlando?
What a good question. Oh my gosh. No, are you kidding me? We're 3-1. Are you out of your damn mind? My ego can take the hit. I'll take the hit. That live event, Perri, it was we had beaten them. We were 2-0 to them going into Orlando, and Dan Merle and John Roca, that audience, and we went in thinking we were at the height of corruption. We were at the height of like doing great, just tearing everything up. Where the audience, on Twitter is all about us. We can't wait to see you guys. And when we came into that theater, they ate John, and they went nuts for them, and they treated us every wrong answer we got, the boos, the yelling. It was a testament to see how much people love John and Dan in the live setting, and it shook Chance and I. We were rattled. We were like, holy, we thought they were going to love us, and and they were so wonderful afterwards. But my God, it was an experience. But no, I would never trade that. We're 3-1 on them. No, sir.
I can't wait for the live events to come back. I've been to a couple of them, and
they're awesome. I love them. Oh my God, I love them.
That room is just on another level.
Yeah, that's why when Andrew Guy and I made the decision, and there was a lot of behind the scenes because we were supposed to play, and it was supposed to be Houston back in April, and now we realize we're doing digital the whole year, and they were like, "You guys want your match? You'll be the undercard for Smith and Jericho." And Andrew and I were like, "No, we're a live event. We're two of these big characters. Like that's a live event," and we decided that's what we were going to do, just because the fans are so great, and to have him and I live would be awesome. So took the less of a match. It would have been awesome to be the undercard for that match. If you watched the Smith and Jericho, because
I adored that match.
Oh my God!
Just like I thought Kevin Smith was going to run away with it, just because I obviously know more about his movie knowledge than I do Jericho. But they were just, I don't know, like their attitudes were great. Their knowledge really served the gameplay well.
I'm not a big fan of watching the matches live because I like to play along. So I like to be able to pause the YouTube if I want to like repeat the question, because I do that just for training. But Shannon and I were like, no, we got to watch it. And we were so entertained. They were so their personalities, because I thought it was like, okay, this is going to go one of two ways. Smith is going to destroy him, or they're both just going to be so not movie heavy in their knowledge, and it's just going to be kind of like, because we've seen famous actors come on, and it's like, okay, all right, the personalities are there, but it's just not fun to watch. But they were so good and so entertaining. Jericho, I mean, the fact that he lost on Two-Face, I'm like, come on, man. How did you not know that? And Kevin Smith thinking like his whole like, did I get it wrong? Like,
I know.
It was such a great match. Such a great match. I was so happy.
It was a very surprising ender for me.
Oh my God. Christian Mark's like, I can't repeat the question, and then you want to tell me your answer? And it's just like, Kevin knows it's Penguin. He knows his movies, but it's just like, did I get it wrong? Because Jericho had been so good. And the fact that he ran the table with Kevin Smith questions, I was like, it was great.
I was mighty impressed with that.
Yeah, so I was so happy for the league and Christian that they put that, because that had opened it up to so many people that might not know what we are. And to see that showing was so good. So
it really does make a big difference. And I applaud them for all the behind the scenes. Speaking of like pivoting in the industry during the time of COVID, they really like made that change and ran with it. And I can't believe how well especially because of what Schmoedown was known for before and the vibes in the studio, just seeing how well it still plays when everything is recorded over Zoom. I feel like that whole team, the whole behind the scenes team there, needs a big round of applause because they're doing it and they're doing it well.
Yeah. Knowing what it takes to be in studio and then live, and now this, it's just like, hey, that's it's incredible. So
we got it all covered. Mike, thank you so much for hanging out with me for so long.
I feel bad. You were like, we're going to do maybe a half hour, Mike. We'll do like 40 minutes. I feel bad. I should tell people, because if you get me talking, I'm going.
I really like this, like a no pressure. I feel like every single time I'm like, how about an hour? They don't want to do it. I'm like, just a half hour, 40 minutes.
Who doesn't want to talk about it? No, I'll talk forever. That's my problem. I feel bad. I noticed this the other day. I was watching, it was our match against the Founding Fathers, and I was rewatching it like the next day. And in our post interview, my poor partner Chance, I talked so damn much. That poor guy didn't get in 2 words. I felt so bad. I was like, my God, I really need to stop talking.
That's what happens when you're talking about something you're passionate about, though, because sometimes I'll watch, I don't know, like an episode of The Witching Hour when I'm super into a review we're doing, and I'm just like running all over Haley in a particular review, and I'm like, like taking a breath and calm down a little.
I know. I get the chats like we'll be on DC, and people are like, "Hey, Mike, let Roxy talk for once." And I've gotten better on that show about it and deferring, but like 2 people, you and I, is like, I feel bad. I'm like, oh gosh, I'll talk forever.
Sometimes I say okay to it when it comes from a place of passion.
There we go.
That's fine. That's when it's fine. Before we leave, everybody, is there anything you want to plug, like your Twitter handle? I feel
we'll talk about it real quick. So back in March, I had a Twitter account. I loved it, and it's slow going, it's slow building, but I love my audience because I feel like Twitter's my platform of choice because I love interacting with people. I'd rather have, I say I don't have this, but I'd rather have like 1,000 dedicated followers than 100,000 people that are just liking what I do. But so I had a great following and a great community, and I get a little political on my Twitter sometimes. I do, and I told the current president to go jump off a bridge, and something he posted, and I get banned for 12 hours. Twitter's like, at first Twitter's like, are you thinking about committing suicide because this is not something to be taken lightly? And I'm like, what? No. And I was thinking in a meeting for work or something, seeing, I was like, God, I got suspended for 12 hours. Damn it. And there's like this little countdown clock on my Twitter saying you can activate. So the next morning I'm driving into work and my Twitter got reactivated. And I was flipping through like a bunch of screens to get out of it because I was driving. But I think one of the screens was like an appeal screen. Like, do you want to appeal our decision that suspended you for 12 hours? And I'm like, because I had to take down the tweet. Mm-hmm. And I guess I said yes, and I didn't mean to. So then it locked on a screen saying your appeal is being considered. Your account is frozen until we review your appeal. And the next day was the day that Universal shut down, and then the quarantine started happening like right away. So I think I got lost in this Twitter kind of, because I was reading online about Twitter, their San Francisco offices, everything was being shuttered and they were working. Yeah. So I couldn't, in my head, I'm like, oh no. And for about a week, I didn't think anything of it. But then it would turn into 2 weeks and 3 weeks. And I'm like, oh, this sucks. So then about a month into it, I was like, well, I miss Twitter. I miss interaction. Let me start this new account. And just by I got almost like 3,000 followers like within a week, which was awesome. But I missed my other one. I was like, oh, yeah. And then I think like, it was like one night this week, I was going on to do someone's chat or something. And I logged on to, I don't use Chrome a lot on my computer. I use Safari. So I logged on to Chrome and I had to pull StreamYards up and it was in my Twitter feed. And I was like, let me go to Twitter. And I hadn't used Chrome in months. So it was my old Twitter handle, which had been locked. Mm-hmm. And I refresh and the screen popped up was like, congratulations, your account is back. And I was like, what? It's back? I get it. And it was like this weird, like it was like Christmas. I'm like, my Twitter's back. All my followers are there. Like it was like Christmas, but now I'm stuck with like I've got like over, like all these followers on two different things. But I like went back to my other one because that was my big one. I told everyone again, like, hey guys, thank you for following me. I'm back on this one. So then I got like another 1,000, went back to that one, and it was awesome. But that was my thing.
I'm glad you got it back.
I never thought I would get it back
that way.
Yeah, I never thought I'd get it back. It was one of those things I thought like maybe when the world comes back, I'll have my agent or my manager reach out to Twitter to try and get verified. And also maybe they can say, like, because I hear a lot of people like were saying, hey, Mike, tell your manager or your agent, have them reach out from a publicity standpoint.
That's actually
people have had success. So I was going to do that once things were back to normal. But I've also liked the small group on the other one. I was like, I knew everyone. They knew me. It was like, it was more of the fact that it reaffirmed that Twitter is my choice. Like, I like to interact. I like the immediacy of it. I like people can interact with me. I like that because it helped me build an audience. It's building an audience. But yeah. But as far as what I'm working on, I've talked a little bit about it, and I can't say yet. There's something. It's not directly Schmoedown related, but it came from Schmoedown. It's combining two of my loves, movies and something else that once we get the go ahead from the people, we can talk about it. It's myself and another person.
Very cool.
I'm very excited. I'm very excited about it. I cannot wait. I think particularly Schmoedown people will love it. But it's also would be a whole kind of worldwide thing. But that's what I'm working on. That's what's taking a lot of my time up.
Very nice. Yeah. I'm very much rooting for you and for that project. Can't wait to hear more about it. And again, thanks so much for hanging out with me.
Anytime.
Again, it's like I'm looking for silver linings right now and just getting the chance to like pop on a stream on Saturdays and just get to know the people around me a little better has been like a really major bright spot. So again, thank you so much for doing this.
I wish more people would this is such a great idea that you do because there's so many people in our group, especially that I don't know that well. There's so many like you. We'd see each other in passing. We'd say hello, but and since I'm not a journalist, I don't do junkets and stuff with you, or I'd see more of you. So there's so many people in the Schmoedown. I feel like I don't know as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is wonderful. Thank you.
I'm hoping to close that gap even more in the coming days. I'm going to keep doing it. Here's the question.
They should. It's wonderful.
You play beer pong.
I'm sorry.
You play beer pong.
Let me tell you this. the people don't know this about me. I am a very lightweight drinker. I'm a fraternity guy, so I did my share of drinking. Trust me, I drink. But I'm the kind of guy, like, I don't social drink. You know, people, like my girlfriend, she's like, I have wine. And I just don't wine. And people are like, I have a beer with dinner. I like to either go crazy and have like Comic-Con level nights of ridiculousness, or I don't drink at all. So beer pong, I'm good at it, but I'm about 2 cans and I'm done. So
okay. All right.
Yeah, I can play, but I'm a cheap date.
I'm going to take this information and I'm going to put it in my back pocket, and hopefully you pop up on this channel again in the very near future. We'll talk about it.
Please do.
You have a good weekend. Keep staying safe over there.
And
I will. Same to everybody watching this stream. Keep staying safe, and I will see you soon with more content.